Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Chapter 5 Diagonally. Harry woke early in the next morning. Although he could tell it was daylight, he kept his eyes shut tight. It was a dream, he told himself firmly. I dreamed a giant cold Hagrid came to tell me I was going for a school of wizards. When I open my eyes, I'll be at home in my cupboard. There was suddenly a loud tapping noise, and their Aunt Petunia knocking the door. Harry thought his heart sinking, but he still didn't open his eyes. It had been such a good dream. Tap, tap, tap. All right, Harry mumbled. I'm getting up. He sat up and Hagrid's heavy coat fell off him. The hut was full of sunlight. The storm was over. Hagrid himself was asleep on the collapsed sofa, and there was an owl rapping its claw on the windows. A newspaper held it in its beak. Harry scrambled to his feet, so happy he felt as though a large balloon was swelling inside him. He went straight to the window and jerked it open. The owl swooped in and dropped the newspaper on top of Hagrid, who didn't wake up. The owl then fluttered onto the door and began to attack Hagrid's coat. Don't do that. Harry tried to wave the owls out of the way, but it snapped its beak fiercely at him and carried on savaging the coat. Hagrid, said Harry loudly. There is an owl. Pay him. Hagrid grunted into the sofa. What? He wants paying for delivering the paper. Look in the pockets. Hagrid's coat seemed to be made of nothing but pockets. Bunches of keys, slug pellets, ball of string, peppermint Hamburg, tea bag. Finally, Harry pulled out a handful of strange-looking coins. Give him 5 kennets, said Hagrid sleepily. Kennets, the little bronze one. Harry counted out 5 little bronze coins, and the owl held out his leg, so Harry could put the money into a small leather pouch and tied to it. Then he flew off through the open door. Hagrid yawned loudly, sat up, and stretched. Best be off, Harry. What's to do today? Gotta get up to London and buy all your stuff for school. Harry was turning over the wizard coins and looked at them. He had just thought of something that made him feel as though the happy balloon inside him had got punctured. Hagrid? Said Hagrid, who was pulling in his huge boots. I haven't got any money. And you heard Uncle Vernon last night. He wouldn't pay for me to go and learn magic. Don't worry about that, said Hagrid, standing up and scratching his head. Do you think your parents didn't leave you anything? But if their house was destroyed, they didn't give their gold in the house, boy. No. First stop for us is Gringotts Wizard Bank. Have a sausage. They're not bad. Cold and I wouldn't say not to a bite of your birthday cake either. Wizards have bags? Just the one, Gringotts, run by goblins. Harry dropped to the bit of sausage he was holding. Goblins? Yeah. So you have met Robin? I'll tell you that never messed with goblins. Harry, Gringotts is the safest place in the world for anything you want to keep safe. Kept maybe Hogwarts? As a matter of fact, I got to visit Gringotts anyway. For Dumbledore, Hogwarts business. Harry drew himself up proudly. Getting this from Gringotts, no, he can't trust me, see. Got everything. Come on, then. Harry followed Hagrid out onto the rock. The sky was quite clear, and now the sea gleamed into sunlight. The boat Uncle Vernon had hired was still there, with a lot of water in the bottom after the storm. How did you get here? Harry asked, looking around for another boat. Flew, said Hagrid. Flew? Yeah, but we'll go back in this. Not supposed to use magic. Now I've got you. They settled down in the boat. Harry still staring at Hagrid, trying to imagine him flying. Seems a shame to now, though, said Hagrid, giving Harry another of his sideways looks. If I was to speed things up a bit, would you mind not to mention in a Hogwarts? Of course not, Harry said, eager to see more magic. Hagrid pulled out his pink umbrella again, tapped it twice on the side of the boat, and they sped off toward land. Why would you be mad to try and rob Gringotts? Harry asked. Spells, enchantment, said Hagrid, unfolding his newspaper as he spoke. They say that's Dragon Garden, the high security boats, and they got to find their way. Gringotts is hundreds of miles under London. See, deep under ground. You'd die of hunger trying to get out, even if you didn't manage to get your hand on summit. Harry sat and thought about this while Hagrid read the newspaper, the Daily Prophet. Harry had learned from Uncle Vernon that people like to be left alone while they did this, but it was very difficult. He never had so many questions in his life. Ministry of Magic mustn't things up usually. Hagrid muttered, turning the page. That's a Ministry of Magic? Harry asked before he could stop. Course, said Hagrid. They want Dumbledore for a minister. Of course, but he'd never leave Hogwarts, so old Cornelius Fudge got the job. Bungler, if ever there was one, so he pelts Dumbledore with owls every morning, asking for advice. But what does a Ministry of Magic do? Well, their main job is to keep it from the muggle that dares steal witches and wizards up and down the country. Why? Why blame me, Harry? Everyone be wanting magic solutions to their problems. No, we're best left alone. At this moment, the boat bumped gently in the harbour wall. Hagrid folded up his newspaper and clambered off the stone steps onto the street. Passerby stared a lot at Hagrid as they walked through the little town to the station. Harry couldn't blame them. Not only was Hagrid twice as tall as everyone else, he kept pointing at perfectly ordinary things like parking meters and said loudly, "See that, Terry? Thinks these muggles dream up here." "Hagrid," said Harry, panting a bit as he ran to keep up. "Did you say there are dragons in Gringotts?" "Well, so they say," said Hagrid. Quickly, "I like dragons. You like one?" "Wanted one ever since I was a kid." "Here we go." They had reached the station. There was a train to London in 5 minutes' time. Hagrid, who didn't understand Muggle money, as he called it, gave the bills to Harry so he could buy the tickets. People stared more than ever on the train. Hagrid took up 2 seats and sat knitting. There's something looked like canary yellow circus tints. "Still got your letter, Harry?" he asked as he counted stitches. Harry took the parchment envelope out of his pocket. "Good," said Hagrid. "There's a list there of everything you need." Harry unfolded a second piece of paper he hadn't noticed the night before and read, "Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Uniforms. First year student will require 3 sets of plain white robes, black, 1 plain pointed hat, black, for day wear, 1 pair of protective gloves, dragon hide or similar, 1 winter cloak, black, silver fastenings. Please note that all people's clothes should carry their name tags. Course books. All students should have a copy of each the following: The Standard Book of Spells, Grade 1, by Miranda Gosher. A History of Magic by Bathilda Bagshot. Magical Theory by Adelbert Waffling. A Beginner's Guide to Transfiguration by Emmerich Switch. 1000 Magic Herbs and Fungi by Philida Spore. Magical Thoughts and Potion by Arsenius Jigger. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by Newt Scamander. The Dark Force, a Guide to Self-Protection by Quentin Trimble. Other equipment: 1 wand, 1 cauldron, pewter, standard size 2, 1 set glass or crystal fields, 1 telescope, 1 set of brass scales. Student might also bring in owl or a cat or a toad. Parents are reminded that first year are not allowed their own broomsticks. Can we buy all this in London? Harry wondered aloud. If you know where to go, said Hagrid. Harry had never been to London before, although Hagrid seemed to know where he was going. He was obviously not used to getting there in an ordinary way. He got stuck in the ticket barrier on the Underground and complained loudly that the seat was too small and the train so slow.